What is up everyone, and did you know that right now Destiny 2 has 7 raids in it? That is over twice as many as Destiny 1, but only one of them rewards pinnacle gear and only 4 of them give randomly rolled weapons. This seems like a major problem to me, and recently Bungie announced that only Garden of Salvation and Last Wish will be immune from gear sunsetting, which is happening this fall, so soon these older raids will be even more obsolete than they already are, and will lead to even less people playing them. The reason this is a problem is simply because raids are one of the best and most important parts of Destiny, and to have all but 2 of them rendered obsolete this fall is just a really big shame. My solution to this is very simple, and it is to implement a seasonal raid system that will reprise 1 old raid every season in addition to the 2 newest yearly raids. This reprise raid will have all of its old gear with random rolls, and will also feature new gear to bolster some of the smaller loot pools among these older raids, especially the Raid Lairs, as the only thing separating them from, say, Crown of Sorrow and Scourge of the Past is that Crown and Scourge both have a few more weapons and a raid exotic each. But other than that, they follow almost the exact same structure, which is they all have an opening room that you just fight some enemies in, then you have a platforming section, and then you have your 2 final encounters against usually a boss that just changes forms in the same final room. My point in explaining that shows that these old raid layers can easily be classified as raids as long as they had bigger loot pools. But anyways, let's go back to talking about my seasonal raid system that I'm proposing. So basically how it works is each season, the 2 newest yearly raids will drop loot at a pinnacle light level, and one other reprised random raid will also drop stuff at a pinnacle light level for a total of 3 raids that drop pinnacle loot at that season's cap. So for example, Season of the Worthy would have consisted of Last Wish and Garden of Salvation as the 2 newest yearly raids, and then it could have featured Eater of Worlds as the 3rd reprised raid. And because it's the reprised raid, it will feature some additional rewards, such as a new raid exotic, new weapons, new cosmetics, new armor sets, and new perks that can be earned on all of these items. This way, players are not simply re-grinding for the same weapons they already had, they're actually getting new and improved stuff, or just new stuff altogether. Also, since all raid loot will drop at the most recent season that it was reprised in's power cap, that means that once a raid is reprised, it will be good for a year, where all of its loot can be used throughout that year. I also think that in addition to these featured seasonal raids, that Bungie should also feature a weekly featured raid that is between the 3 pinnacle raids that rewards either additional pinnacle rewards, bright dust, or increases the chance of getting the raid exotic if the raid is featured for that given week. This would simply just add even more player engagement in the raids for that week, as for instance, if the Crown of Sorrow raid is reprised and is featured that week, and so you don't have the Teraba SMG, that would make that week a great time to grind for the Teraba SMG. Also, Bungie should bring back those small-scale raids that they did with Crown of Sorrow and Scourge of the Past and the Raid Lairs in Year 1. So far in Year 3, we have only had 1 raid, and that was the Garden of Salvation in the fall. So unless Season 11 surprises us with a new raid, it looks like we're only getting 1 new raid experience this year, and while that's the same amount we had in Destiny 1, it's a major downgrade from how we were doing in the years before in Destiny 2. So I think that Bungie should at least once a year create one of these smaller scale raids or raid lairs, and basically these raids would be released in either the spring or summer season. They would feature a full loot pool with an exotic. They would consist of an opening encounter, jumping/puzzle encounter, which has a hidden chest, and the 2 final encounters would take place in the final room, much like Scourge of the Past, Crown of Sorrow, and the Raid Lairs. This way we would at least get 2 raid experiences a year, which is way better than what we've received so far in Year 3. Basically, the bottom line is Bungie needs to do something with these old raids, as they are a lot of content that's just gonna fall to the wayside this fall unless Bungie can find a way to reprise them for the upcoming seasons. This would be a huge shame, as a lot of work went into those raids, and they are literally the best PvE content that Destiny has to offer, and to go from having 7 viable raids to only having 2 is just such a huge downgrade from what we had last year. So Bungie, if you see this, just find a way to reprise these old raids so that we can still enjoy this old content. Also, please bring back the smaller scale raids, even if you make it a raid lair. Just bring back the smaller raids so that we can at least get 2 raid experiences a year besides just the one that we get in the fall expansion. But anyways, that's all I have to say on the topic, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it down below. And I know this was much shorter than my other videos. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there on not letting these raids fall to the wayside, as they'd just be such a huge loss for the game. But as I said, that's all I have to say. So if you liked the video, please subscribe and hit it with a like, and until next time, goodbye.